If there's one thing that all our best performing campaigns have in common, it's that they all run an efficient system that consistently brings in qualified leads. There's one tool on the internet that is by far the most effective outbound marketing software that makes the campaign creation process for cold emails super simple, but not too many people know how to use it. So in this video, I'm going to break down the steps that all our best performing campaigns follow utilizing a tool called clay.com. And so I've actually prepared a Notion document for you guys. And first I want to talk about what exactly is Clay. And then I want to talk about the best use cases for Clay. And then I'm actually going to dive into the software myself so that I could show you how we're utilizing it here at BuzzLead to help our clients scale their businesses with cold email marketing. So what is Clay? Some of y'all may have heard of it. A lot of y'all probably haven't, but Clay is essentially a software that brings every outbound marketing platform out there and it integrates them all under one platform. So you could essentially manage cold email campaigns from start to finish. It's a very powerful database and platform that utilizes a whole bunch of APIs from different softwares. So rather than you having to jump from place to place to either build a lead list or write personalized copy or actually physically send the emails, you could literally manage everything under that one umbrella in this one platform, which is called Clay. And the way I look at it, Clay is literally the meta of the lead gen space. And if anybody wants to get ahead of the game and outperform all their competitors as it relates to outbound marketing, Clay is the move, and not too many people know about it. So hopefully if you pick up a few points from this, you could apply it to your business and start signing some new clients through cold email. So how exactly is Clay used for outbound B2B marketing? Well, there's many different use cases for it. I'm going to explain what these use cases are at a high level, and then I'm going to give you a sneak peek at some of the ways that we're using it. And I'm going to actually walk into the platform and give you some real life examples. So number one, first and foremost, for me at BuzzLead, I love building lead lists. I love data. I love building highly targeted lead lists that I know my prospects are going to enjoy the message that I'm sending it to them because they're probably curious, how the heck did I even find their data? And that's what Clay is going to be for. So essentially, Clay with the list building and lead enrichment, there's many ways that you can go about using the platform. If you have a CRM such as HubSpot or Salesforce, Clay's got many native integrations, so you could pull all of that stale data that's existing in your CRM. You could pull it into Clay and enrich that data to get up-to-date information and find new intent signals and essentially clean up that data that is probably no good anyways because it might have been sitting in your CRM like HubSpot or Salesforce for years. But a couple of things to add on to this, like I love using Clay more than anything else to find untapped data. And what I mean by that is when somebody is going out and building a lead list because they want to launch a cold email campaign, everybody and their mother is going to the same platforms and they're getting the same data. They either go to Apollo or Zoom Info and they essentially just plug in a couple of industry filters, locations, company headcount, revenue, this, that. And everybody is going after that data because it's the easiest to find and that's how everybody knows how to find it. Problem with that is that it's super saturated. And another big issue is that those platforms, while they have some really good data that is saturated, that data is also lacking a lot of valuable information and a lot of contact information that you as a business owner probably want to have. And the best part about finding untapped data is that not many other people are actually reaching out to those same contacts. So you have a much higher possibility of actually getting those people to respond to your emails. So some of the ways that I like to use Clay is maybe I'll go to a platform like Zoom Info or Apollo. I'll get my initial lead list and then I'll bring that into Clay. I'll import it and then I'll use Clay to actually enrich that contact information and find more email addresses and other data that you can't necessarily get on Zoom Info or Apollo. So, to kind of add on to this, and I'm actually gonna walk into Clay here and show you in a second here, but with the list building and lead enrichment, not too many people know what lead enrichment is, but lead enrichment is essentially finding unique data points that you could use to end up tailoring and personalizing your message. So that way it's all the more relevant than it would be if you were just reaching out to people blind because they're part of an industry that you think is in your ideal client persona. So some of the major tools that I love that Clay actually integrates with is built with SEMrush, SimilarWeb, Apify, and then some other tools and ways that you could use Clay is that if you want to make sure that your lead list is very targeted and that all the people that you're reaching out to are relevant for the offer that you're trying to provide them, you could actually use a function that's called lead scoring or lead qualification, where essentially you're using AI, and rather than you having to manually go through a list one by one, you're using AI and you're giving it a prompt and you're basically feeding it whatever your business or service offer is. And you're saying, hey, evaluate this lead list, look at each company one by one, based off their industry, their website, all the available information. Can you let me know if they're actually worth reaching out to? And a little bit more on this, but just to kind of touch on the other points here. So Clay, it's an automated research and workflow automation platform. Like I had mentioned with like the lead scoring and trying to qualify a big list of leads to make sure that they're a good fit for your service. You could also use ChatGPT within Clay because it's integrated to actually do market research on the companies that you're going after, or do market research on anything. You could essentially search Google terms. You could use ChatGPT to figure out information. You could basically use Clay as an AI agent to do a lot of the manual tasks that you would typically have to pay an employee a ton of money and a full salary for. Now you could do it for pennies on the dollar using Claygen, and that's all built within Clay. Personalization at scale. So tying back to like the whole AI piece and what I had mentioned before, like if you want to use AI to actually personalize your message and make it look like you are speaking to the individual prospect that you're cold emailing one by one, Claygen allows you to do that. And you could get super creative as you want. And you could come up with personalized prompts or messages based off of information that you could find anywhere on the internet or through different databases. And while 2 years ago, you didn't have any way of doing this, now you could actually do it at scale, and you could personalize your messages and really just make your emails stand out, unlike ever before. Lastly is the data validation and cleaning. If you've built lead lists and you've done cold email marketing yourself, you probably know how big of a pain in the ass it is to actually clean up a company list and make sure that the names aren't including things like, BuzzLead Inc. or BuzzLead LLC. You want to remove that because it doesn't read properly and it looks like you're sending a robotic message. Claygen can actually, or Clay in general, the tool, has so many free resources that will allow you to clean, format, validate, and verify contacts so that all the emails that you're actually reaching out to are verified contacts so you don't have high bounce rates. But instead of having to juggle a whole bunch of spreadsheets and go from one place to the other and then verify your leads here and then move them over here, you could literally do it all under Clay. And if you can't tell about my enthusiasm, I freaking love this tool because it saves me literally 20 plus hours every single week just in the list building process alone. So I'm going to jump into Clay and I'm going to give you a high level overview of a couple of main functions that you should pay attention to and you should start practicing, because if you don't know how to use this tool, you're going to get lapped by other people that do. Jumping into Clay, it's called clay.com, and the first thing that I want to point out is all of the native integrations that Clay already has built into the system. It's actually incredible because if you're an outbound marketer and you want to just integrate all these different tools that you're already using and just have everything intertwined under one umbrella, Clay is the way to go. And as you can see, Airtable, that's our client management system. Literally, our whole business relies on this system called Airtable. So the fact that we could push data back and forth between Airtable and Clay makes all the difference. Then there's Apollo, Apify, built with if you're trying to find the technology stacks that these companies that you're reaching out to have embedded on their website, you could find it there. Literally, there's like 70 plus native integrations. Another key one is SmartLead AI. It's the email sending software that we use to physically send out 300,000 plus emails every single month across us and our clients. And rather than me having to export a lead list from here and then import it into SmartLead and plug in all these different settings, you could literally build the lead list, clean the lead list, verify the lead list, and deploy it to your smart lead sending software all within Clay. So it's incredible, but you don't find that a software that you're using has a native integration within Clay. It's incredible because it utilizes APIs, and if any softwares that you have API documentation and they have webhooks, then you are absolutely golden, and it doesn't matter if that's not listed on here. So how exactly are we going to use Clay? What are the use cases, and where might you want to go and test out these mechanisms during the holidays? Well, if I log into Clay, it's all going to start really in your workspace settings. And the first thing you want to do is click create new. And you could create a workbook, which is a whole bunch of tables that are workflowed together and intertwined. I'm going to jump into that in a little bit and give you a sneak peek at one of our workflows that's been very effective. But you could create a folder, or you could just go and create a table. Once you go and create a table, this is essentially the starting point of where we want to go with our, list building process or campaign creation process in general. And as you can see, when I click create new table, I could either start a blank table, I could start from a template that Clay gives you because so many other users have already done this before, or it could give you some suggestions. Maybe I'm just trying to find individual contacts from LinkedIn, or maybe I'm trying to find companies from LinkedIn. Maybe I want to import something from HubSpot or Salesforce, or maybe I already have a CSV file and I just want to make sure that the data is accurate, or maybe I want to enrich it and find more data points from the CSV file that I already have. You could do all that, or you could even look at other options, such as, finding companies that are hiring, or finding people who have listed a new job posting, or if you want to monitor a webhook. For example, if you have a subscription with RB2B and you want to know all the people that are visiting your website, and you want to capture that information in real time, and then all of a sudden qualify that prospect to make sure they're a good fit for your business, and then put together a personalized message and cold email them within the matter of minutes, you could do all that with Clay with the webhook function. But I'm not going to dive into all that. I'm going to give you a basic tutorial where, let's just say we're going to go ahead and build a lead list from scratch. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to figure out the companies that I'm actually reaching out to. So I'll click on this Find Companies tab, and it's going to give you a little sneak peek at LinkedIn. So you could actually plug in all these different industry filters, just like you would on any other lead list building database. And just to give you an example, let's just say that we're going after, information technology. So we're going after like software companies. And let's say that for the description, I want to go after finance technology companies, so fintech companies. I want to make sure that they're in the United States. And then I could get a little preview here. It's going to show me all the companies that match that criteria. And here we can see 689 companies. That sounds good. Actually, I want to bump this up and make sure that they have 200 to 500 employees. So let's tidy up that list a little bit. So now I've got 9, just for a small sample size, 9 fintech companies that have 200 to 500 employees in the United States. I'm going to import this into a new table. And then here you can see the import options where I could either for free just import the basic profiles, or if I want to enrich the companies with a lot more information and data points, I can do so. And you could also see some other options here. So if I want to find their tech stack, or if they have any job openings, you could select all these. I'm just going to do it for free, get this data in here, and then we're going to go ahead and take this data and expand on it. So here we can see the 9 companies. You can see the company, the name, the description, industry, 200 to 500 employees, yada, 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 all this great stuff. So what exactly do we want to do with this information? Well, the ball is in your court. For me, some of the main features that I love doing is I want to figure out, so I've got these companies that I know technically fit the ideal client persona that I'm trying to reach out to, but I want to get more information, because the more information you have, the more you could use those data points to personalize your copywriting so that your cold email campaigns come off as more relevant than somebody else who's just cold emailing this list right here. So some of the cool features here, what you could do is click add enrichment. And let's say I want to figure out what technologies are these platforms using, because maybe I want to reach out to companies that are using HubSpot and I don't care so much about the ones using Salesforce. Well, what you could do is type in Built With, for example. Built With is an incredible platform, and I could essentially click on this, figure out how many technologies they have on their website. I could click run. And now this is going to go ahead and find me all their technology stacks. And while that's running, I'm also going to go ahead and look at some more information. Maybe I want to figure out how many website visitors these companies are having every single month, because maybe I have a solution that works really well for people that have a high amount of website traffic visitors every single month. So maybe we just use Similar web, get website visits. I could click on this, collect all this data point. I want to figure out how many people are going to their website every single month. And then maybe I want to go ahead and find more data points, such as what, keywords are they using? Like maybe I'm selling SEO services to fintech companies, and I want to figure out what these companies' competitors are doing and how they're actually beating them out with backlinks and keywords. All this stuff is literally intent data that you could use. And if you know how to equip it into your copywriting where it doesn't sound too technical and it just sounds like you know your shit and you did manual research, I promise you, you're gonna blow away anybody else that is targeting these same people. So let me just click on SEMrush. I could get traffic, we could either get traffic analytics or competitors in paid research. I'll go ahead and run this, United States, make sure that we're targeting United States only. And then let's go ahead and run that. And anyway, I think you could see where I'm going with this, but essentially this tool allows you to get all this information. And then once I have a really targeted list of companies, then you could take it a step further. And while these companies are great, I don't know who exactly I'm going to be reaching out to from these companies. And that's where Clay takes it a step further. And so I have all this great information. Amazing. And one thing that I forgot to mention is that Clay is actually not going to charge you if they don't find any information. So for example, in this first company, I was trying to figure out information about this company's competitors, their keyword in SEO, things that they're doing. It didn't find anything. I didn't get charged anything. So the tool, you're paying for what you're getting. And that's another thing that I absolutely love. But now let's go and take this company list. And let's say I want to go ahead and find the people at this list. And here's how we can do that. Find people at these companies. All right, so we've got the same preview that we saw before with the companies. Now we're doing it for the people. And I'm just gonna go ahead and click preview. It's only 9 companies, so I don't wanna get too specific because I might not get enough data. But here we could see, previewing 50 of 618 people. All right, so that's a lot. So let me just go ahead and make sure that the people that I'm reaching out to are just owner, partner, C-suite. Just as an example, I'll click preview. Let's see where it takes us. It's probably going to be a much smaller lead list, but yeah, 10 results. You could import it into this table, but I always like to import it into a new table. And the reason being is some companies might have multiple contacts. And if I keep everything in this table, all the data is going to look clustered, very complicated. So anyway, I'm going to push this data to a new table. And so now we've got a list of contacts from the companies that I know are relevant because I searched for them and I also enriched their data with other intent signals. And now I've got a list of prospects from those companies. And this is where things get even better because previously, you would have to go and, clean up a list manually or pay a VA or an employee to go and make sure that everything looks proper and that it's formatted well. And you also want to make sure that the emails that you're reaching out to are verified, valid. You could do all that right here from a people table. And this is what I mean by that. So let's say that I want to clean up the company names. Some of the cool free features here within Clay is I could do, normalize a company name. And this is gonna clean up, format, and make it nice and neat so that it's good for cold email. It's gonna run that. Then let's see. So I've got the company domain, I've got the LinkedIn information. Let's say that I wanna go ahead and take this data. And then I also want to, maybe personalize a message for these guys. Then you could do that, but I'll show you that here in a minute. But what I love about Clay is that you could use a function called waterfall enrichment, where essentially you're cross-checking multiple databases. And instead of relying on Zoom info, finding the contacts that you could get there with emails that are valid, and then just sticking with that list, Zoom info is not gonna have a lot of contacts, but other databases will. And so with Clay, you could actually cross-check all those different databases. And if you can't find an email on one place, you could find it on another place. And what I mean by that is I'll go ahead and click, find email, because I have these guys' LinkedIn profiles, I have their companies, I have all that good information, but I do not have I don't have their email addresses. And so what I'll do here, and you could even see validation provider. So if I want to make sure that all these contacts are validated and the emails aren't bouncing, you could literally do this whole waterfall enrichment process within the click of a button. And I'm going to do that for you right here. So I'll click on this. And now watch as we go from just having LinkedIn profiles to all of a sudden probably having 8 out of 10 emails, give or take. Whereas if you were to try to find these people's contact information and email addresses on ZoomInfo or Apollo alone, you're probably going to get 2 to 3 email addresses. So let's see, what do the results look like? So already, right off the bat, 8 out of 10 email addresses have been found on the first data source. And because it was unsuccessful on the first one for these 2 emails, it's now going to cross-check and reference these other databases, and it's going to figure out, can we find this email address anywhere else? If so, great. If not, you're out of luck. But at least we tried all these different databases. And so it's going to end up pushing all this information into this final column. Because I used the data validation, the email validation zero bounce tool right in that waterfall enrichment process, these are all valid, verified emails that I could actually plug into my cold email campaign. And for some of these, like these 2 leads here, so it looks like we got 9 out of 10, very high enrichment process. So what do I want to do from here? Well, maybe I want to actually personalize my message to these people so it doesn't look like I'm just mass emailing these people. I'm not spamming them. I want to make it look like I actually did my research. So this is where Claygen comes in, and this is by far my favorite aspect of Clay.com, because you could utilize ChatGPT within Clay and you could personalize your messages to make it look like you are reaching out to and doing your research, manually researching every single prospect. And this could be done in so many functions. You could do it on a company level. So maybe I want to go ahead and click Add Enrichment, click Claygen, and Claygen is a tool where you're essentially having an AI agent or a custom scraper doing commands on your behalf, and you could even have AI assist you in creating the prompt. If you're not technical like me, I'm not a coder, I don't know how to develop, I don't know how to do all this technicality, so I've never really paid attention to AI and all this stuff, but Claygen makes it super easy, because I could just say, can you write a personalized line based on the prospect's LinkedIn profile? I don't typically use this prompt. I'm just trying to give you something that's quick and easy to follow. It'll give you an auto suggestion. I'll accept it. I'll go ahead and just, run it on these first 10 rows. It's going to go and start running this personalized prompt using AI to personalize the message. But to give you a couple of other examples of how you could use it, maybe I want to use Claygen to actually pull recent news or figure out if one of these prospects was featured in a recent podcast. Or maybe I want to find case studies that these companies have on their website because I'm doing lead generation for companies and I want to let them know that I can find other clients that are just like their best customer. So to show you what that might look like, I'll just type in case study. And Claygen is awesome because there's a whole lot of preemptive prompts that other people have used that you could actually use yourself so you don't have to recreate the wheel. So let's just say case study. And basically what I'm telling the AI agent to do is scrape all of these prospects' websites and call out the case study, basically list it out because I want to use that in my cold email message and I want to just make my message more relevant. I want to make it look like that I was actually visiting their website and that's where I got this information. So here you could see, with the personalized prompts, what does it say here? I was impressed by your extensive experience as an executive assistant, particularly your current role supporting the CEO, founder, blah, 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 blah. I didn't refine my lead list enough. I shouldn't be reaching out to executive assistants, but let's see what the next one says. Impressed by Helix Beat's innovative approach to healthcare digital transformation, particularly your achievements in enhancing operational efficiency. I love to discuss blah, 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 blah. And the thing is, with this AI model, you could train it and tell it whether something is good or bad. The better you are with your prompt giving, the better the AI is going to react and give you the message that you actually want to have. So I'm not going to bore you to death because there's so many ways that you could actually use this platform. But another thing is that I think is a cool feature and a cool thing about the platform is they have a ton of free features in here. So maybe you're reaching out to, companies and you want to make sure that the website that they have, like if you're targeting small businesses, local service businesses, and you want to make sure that their website is valid and active. So what do we have here? We end up having a very targeted lead list. You can integrate multiple different databases and APIs and make sure that the people that you're reaching out to are targeted, they're relevant to the offer or the service that you have. And I could go on for hours and hours and hours about how we're actually using this lead list. But essentially, to give you a high-level summary, you could use Clay to source data. You could use it to enrich data. You could use it to clean and format data, You could use it to validate and make sure that the emails that you're sending aren't going to bounce because they're verified emails. You could also use Clay for some more complex workflows, such as what I'm showing right here. This is called a workbook. And essentially what we're doing here is we have a webhook that is utilizing an API from SerperDev, and I'm scraping Google Maps. I'm bringing all the companies that I'm scraping in Google Maps into this workflow here, visiting their website to make sure that it's valid, it's active, verified. And then all of a sudden, I'm finding unique data points. I'm finding the owners at all these businesses. I'm personalizing messages to each of these individuals as if I researched each of them one by one. And then I'm taking this all up into the point where I'm cleaning, verifying, validating my lead list and pushing it directly into my email sending software called Smart Lead. So rather than me having to go through all these different things, I'm literally clicking a button. The whole thing is automated. It's a workflow that no human can compete with because it's AI, and this is the future. And this is why I can't recommend a platform more than I will recommend Clay.com. We've been using it for about 1.5 years now, and our results are exceptional. That's literally just a sneak peek of it. One thing that I want to leave you with as we close out this video is that you could create the best lead list, you could write the best copywriting. None of that shit is gonna matter if your emails aren't landing in the inbox. And I actually just put together a video that shows you about email deliverability along with all the updates that have happened with email service providers in 2023, 2024, and some things that you should be expecting so that you could prepare for 2025 and scale your business with cold email. Hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around for this email deliverability one, and then let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.